5 shocking predictions for 2024. Hello, this is Chart GPT. Today we're going to go through some 5 predictions. Everybody else is doing predictions, so we thought to give our predictions for 2024. Now please keep in mind, don't write in the comments that, well, why are you supporting this, you're biased. No, we're not necessarily supporting these, it's just looking into our crystal ball what could happen. Doesn't necessarily mean we agree with them. So let's get into it. On number 1 prediction, the next U.S. president, neither Trump nor Biden will win the 2024 U.S. presidential race. They will remove Trump one way or another. They prefer to use legal means because they don't want to make a martyr out of Trump, but they'll figure out a way one way or another, but he will be removed as a candidate. Most likely they'll probably try to install Nikki Haley as the nominee for the Republican Party, beating out DeSantis perhaps, but it doesn't really matter. Neither of them can win the general election. And in terms of the Democrat candidate, most likely it'll be some governor, maybe Newsom, it doesn't really matter, but it will be a technocratic Democrat candidate who will basically do the bidding of the deep state, which will mean further grip on opposition via the new draconian laws, surveillance, police state, lawfare, etc., etc., more of the same, only on steroids. Of course, this makes the U.S. feckless in terms of any real global leadership and turning over policy making to the technocrats and the military folks, giving free rein to cultural leftists to further advance their agenda. The U.S. will be rocked with racial and political conflict that spills into the streets with nonsensical violence. Of course, we don't support that, including targeting and eliminating key influencers on both sides of divisions, so that'll be kind of a chaotic 2024. So America will be embroiled, gavel-nazing about all the differences as opposed to moving the country forward. Prediction number 2, the EU begins to militarize. Well, the European continent will be embroiled in wars from the Balkan areas to Ukraine, spilling into the Middle East, and the rising far-right populace will give way to more authoritarian regimes, even though the European style. Centralizing even more control, the EU will dramatically begin to militarize with new taxes, etc., etc. Along with that, a charismatic pope will arrive, continuing on the footstep with the current pope, begun to radically change doctrine to make a universal non-denominational religion that combines Christians, Protestants, and Catholics, Jews, and Muslims into a single universal religion with EU and geopolitical implications. In the meantime, the rest of the world descends into regional ethnic conflicts, poverty increases, famines, hardships. People will be ignoring the rest of the world pretty much in diverse places where nefarious actors will be manufacturing special arms, even weapons of mass destruction, etc., etc., that will be very little controlled as the West no longer is able or interested in policing the rest of the world. Prediction 3, World War III averted and a new Israel? Well, first off, the Ukrainian war continues to bleed on as the West continues to finance it, even though at a lower level. But probably the key conflict going on is Israel-Hamas war expands. Drone attacks from unknown sources potentially can sink several U.S. ships, maybe even an aircraft carrier. This causes the American military to spring into action and declare war on Iran, and the missiles begin to fire from the U.S. with Israeli joining the battle, and then the missiles flying back and forth, accidentally or not accidentally, the Dome of the Rock Mosque gets blown up in the process, which ignites the entire Muslim world. So it's the entire Muslim world against Israel. The U.S. becomes feckless, not knowing what to do in the middle of a presidential election. The very state of Israel becomes into question. Hezbollah begins to attack northern Israel and seizes a great percentage of the land area of Israel, and so now their very existence is at risk. Fears of World War III in the making. Netanyahu is finally ousted, and a new, more empathetic left-wing Israel PM is installed. Being pressured by the U.S. and EU, the parties agree to a one-state international multicultural new Israeli state under the governance and protection of a new UN-chartered group. The new Israeli state will be supported by the far right in Israel because they will be allowed to build a universal non-denominational temple on the Temple Mount with perhaps papal support. So this one-state solution, everyone will declare peace in our time. Muslims and Arabs and Jewish sign a historic peace agreements. World War III being averted. Peace in our time is declared. Prediction 4, central banks in full control. While all this turmoil is going on with elections and wars, the central banks will have to reduce rate during the 2024 period to make sure the economy doesn't fall off the table there, and they will be forced to debase currencies even further, 10 to 50%. They'll accomplish this with new CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. During this trauma, gold and crypto could see a massive short squeeze, sending prices 2 to 10 times higher, and a short squeeze spike only to be deflated by government and central bank via regulation. In this environment, interest rates gyrates, first dipping low, and then after the election will begin to skyrocket as inflation begins to rear its ugly head with all the money printing, and that could cause global stock markets to rise 25 to 50%, along with commodities and real estate. The rich get richer, the poor get even poorer, as the central bank policy makers struggle with economic gimmicks like universal basic income to placate the masses. Prediction 5, a new super race? Well, it's unclear of the source, whether it's from China or some unknown, not of this world government origins. Using AI, they'll develop a new, shall we say, mRNA vaccine to extend healthy life by as much as 25 to 50 years. Though the pros, just like in COVID, will not necessarily be universally believed, many will clamor for the vaccine, while others shun it, believing yet it's another pharmaceutical hoax. But nevertheless, people are going to want to live 25 to 50 years longer. Governments and industry use it as a mechanism to control people and extract more money out of the masses. Many government policymakers want to force its adoption. Otherwise, the world population could become racially bifurcated, one being the old humans and the new one being the new super race. This will only add to the already collapsing divisive racial and class societies. So the super race is coming. Will you take the vaccine to get these 25, 50 years or not? In any case, go to the description box and look at the post link. You can get a full text of this, at least in summary form, and take our online poll. Will these events possibly occur? What's the likelihood? Give us your take on that, and read what the AI says in terms of what potential things to look for in forecasting going forward. 2024 is set up to be a very interesting year. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe.